It's good to be with you today. You don't see me too often right now because I'm at Annunciation Parish a lot, helping them in their time of not having a pastor. So anyway, good to be with you today. And we celebrate Friday of this second week of Advent. And so as we progress through our journey of the season, the church is reflecting with us and helping us to dive into the mystery of Christ as we contemplate his coming to us at the end of time, and also the remembrance of his birth that we celebrate every year, right? And in some ways, or in many ways, so that the second coming of Christ is the major focus of this part of the season. And so we will shift soon more directly to reflect on the birth of Christ. But, you know, the birth of Christ is something that it has happened. You know, it belongs to what we'd say is history, and we await his coming to us at the end of time. But he comes to us in many, many ways, right? In our present, in the opportunity to be disciples, in different people that we encounter, in the inspiration to perform acts of virtue. So Christ comes to us constantly throughout our lives, and one of the ways we'll be tested at the end of our life is to receive the question, how did we respond to Christ as he came into our lives in many, many ways? And so we read from Isaiah. We continue to journey through this important book of sacred scripture. And Isaiah, among all of the prophets, is thought to point most clearly to the Messiah. It's supposed to have a special clarity in regards to the prophesied one. And so it says that naturally it's addressed to Israel, and says that I will teach you what is for your good, and that if you would listen to me, essentially, you will be prosperous, you'll be joyful, and you will be great. And it just goes back that Israel was not a significant culture or community in the Near East. They were not strong militarily. They weren't culturally nearly advanced as Egypt was. There was nothing about the ancient Israelites that was special. But God chose them. He didn't choose them because they were special. You know, if God had wanted to prosper the greatest nation, it would have been perhaps Egypt or another empire. He chose a simple culture, simple people, to reveal his great glory. And what the reading essentially says is that it is God working in our lives who is able to bring a great and beautiful vocation out of us, and able to make us truly the people we're called to be. And we have to keep going back to that. You know, I love what Father Mike Schmitz says, and of course he's well known for the Catechism in a Year, the Bible in a Year with Ascension Press, that we're not called to white-knuckle Christianity. We're not trying to just get through everything and dodge the temptations and just succeed through our great power. We constantly go back to Jesus, and that we rely completely on the grace of God. And relying completely on Jesus means also relying on the intercession of our Blessed Lady and of the saints, and asking them to intercede for us as well, and using all the spiritual arsenal that we've been given to advance in our relationship with God. And so we go on to the gospel today. And it's an interesting reading. I know I used to hear this over the years, and I think we hear it in Lent as well. And Jesus says, essentially, that you weren't happy with any prophet that was legitimately sent to you. He compares the people that he was speaking to here to children who don't want to play any game. They don't want to play any game. No game is going to be good. And I think that's so true of our hearts, that, you know, we readily accept the good news of the gospel: salvation, grace, healing, forgiveness, the possibility of renewal, of living a profoundly better life. And then when it comes to the need to pray, the need to sacrifice, the need to extend ourselves for others in mercy, and to accept the cross that is part of Christianity, and to find what is within that we tend to begin to reject Christianity. So as long as it's all us receiving things, then, you know, it's great. The Catechism of the Catholic Church says that the bad news of the gospel, the good news, is, you know, again, revelation of freedom from sin and salvation. The bad news is that it points out sin. It points out the brokenness and the disorder. Because let's be completely honest, will we believe the things the church teaches if we didn't have Christianity? No. So Christianity points out those things that we're asked to avoid, you know, to avoid sin, all that as well. And that's, again, the bad news of the gospel. And so my prayer today, as we continue with our Advent season, is to let the entire gospel speak to us, and to truly ask the Lord to help our lives to be prepared for his coming at the end of time, the remembrance of his coming at Christmas, and that he would help us to be willing to lay aside those things in our choices, our lives, that inhibit his kingdom, and to prevent him from making us disciples and working powerfully in our lives for sanctification and holiness.